Okay, what I'm going to do is demonstrate a sky. Skies have a darker value at the top, and then they get lighter as they go down toward the horizon. So you want to start with the blue in the sky first. You want to use a soft white bristle brush, either a silver or sometimes these ones that are softer, even though it's a flat brush, they'll still work. And you want to grab a darker color and quickly go back and forth like this. Alright, you want to go flat and flat. You don't want to make X's. Like this. And the quicker you move, the faster it will blend and the better results you'll have. You also want it to be real wispy and atmospheric like. So I'm getting lighter as it goes down, and I'm working quick, but I'm basically adding one over top of the other. Again, dark at the top. I just grab the blue by itself, white at the bottom. If it's not light enough, add more. And then blend it in the middle. So they gradually go. It just kind of goes from dark to light. Now, as far as the clouds, you want to use your brush at an angle. You never want to go like this. Right? You don't want to do that because that just makes splats. You want to take it and gently touch it. Grab some white. And I usually tap off to the side so my brush doesn't have that much paint on it. And you make a general cloud formation. You do not want puffy circles. Clouds are rotating with the earth and there's wind. So they tend to have these long wisps. And it's very thin toward the edges. You don't want it outlined. Now this looks like a number 2 value. You can go out longer if you want. There's barely any paint on the brush because I put it down. You don't get more paint to spread it out. You want it to spread out, look very, very thin. You might want to take some off the brush and just sort of wisp this out a little bit, make it very soft. You can almost feel the wind going through the clouds. Now that's your first layer. Following this, there are more and more layers of clouds. If you look at clouds, they have areas where the air is more condensed. And the more dense it is, the thicker and whiter the cloud is. So there's these little clusters, and it's important to leave these areas of darker value in between your little clusters. So pull up some clouds, look at them, pull them up on your venues and look at them and decide how your clouds are looking. Which areas of your cloud have some lighter and which are darker. You can even dry your brush a little bit and have some really light wispy. I'm barely touching. I'm not painting, barely touching. Some cirrus clouds over here. I'm going to put some like little clouds in the bottom. Now this is really thick. I don't want it to look thick and heavy. I want it to look light. If it's going to look light, I have to spread it out. I took all the paint off my brush and let it spread out so it looked lighter, like it's going back in the distance. I'm going to put a big cloud, not too much paint, coming off the top here and reaching down, higher up in the sky. Notice there's not too much paint on here, which is why it's spreading out so nicely. Right? There's barely any paint on there. I'm going to wait just for a second for it to dry. Get some more white. Notice I'm using a napkin and I'm constantly wiping my brush on it. I'm going to go back into it and decide where it's lighter. Clouds are usually lighter toward the top, and they're a little darker and flatter at the bottom. The reason they're darker and flatter at the bottom is because of the moisture. There's moisture in the cloud and it's heavy, so that heaviness and that moisture tends to be at the bottom. You want your cloud to look natural. You You don't want a pattern. You don't want 1, 2, 3 perfect clouds. You want them to be very irregular. There's some thick areas there. I'm going to soften it up. It was too thick for me. So if you want to soften it up and take away, rinse your brush off and just spread it out. And let it barely touch. I'm not painting, I'm barely touching the paper. And those are